It is vacation season, but you don't have to break the bank to have a little summer fun.
Annika Caldwell, author of 23 and Debt Free, joins us today to talk about what we all love to do in the summer, vacationing, and the hardest part, paying for it. So how can we get started in going on an adventure?
Absolutely. So as always, the first thing I say is you're going to need a budget. So many times we go on vacation and it's easy to just go and have that credit card in hand and kind of just go willy-nilly, as my mother would say, right? And then we get home and there's this stress of what is that credit card bill going to look like? And so often vacations, which should be so relaxing, end up being a little more stressful. So first and foremost, you're going to want to set that budget and figure out how much do I have to spend on this vacation. And as you're setting that budget, there are usually four main categories that I look at. So you're going to need to get there. How are you going to travel? Your lodging, then your food, and then last but not least, your fun. So those are kind of your main categories that you're going to want to look at as you're setting that vacation budget. Then once you have that number in mind, let's look at how can we break those costs down and maybe save a little bit of money as we go so that we could spend a little more on the fun things or stretch our vacation budget a little bit farther and maybe vacation a little longer. So I don't know about you guys, but I think often travel, so how you get there and where you stay are often the most expensive things.
Yes, correct.
Especially if you're flying, right? That flying gets really expensive. And so when we look at those two categories, a couple things that I often advise clients is, okay, let's look at other options. Let's shop around. What are some travel sites that we could look at, like Expedia or Hotels.com? You can often get discounted prices. You can even do a bidding on there where you can get lower prices on those hotel rooms or those airline tickets. Other great options, vacation where you have friends or family. So go and stay with someone you know.
I go to Arizona every year and I stay with Grandma. It's the best priced hotel there is.
Right? And you might want to chip in a little bit for food while you're there, but overall it's going to be considerably cheaper than that hotel. Absolutely. Another great option that people sometimes haven't heard of is Airbnb. And that's actually a site where people can list their homes, a room in their home, their extra condo that they have, and you can go and rent an entire home. So if you've got a big group of people, or you can rent a specific room, and that's often a lower cost option.
I've used Airbnb before. It's pretty slick. I've really enjoyed it and gotten some good deals on it. But do you also think there needs to be maybe a little realistic with what it is of, okay, I want to go on a Mexican, a resort in Mexico somewhere. Well, $500 isn't going to do it. So I feel like we also have to be honest with ourselves about what the budget is really going to get us in the end.
Absolutely. And there's so much that you can do close to home. And so looking at where am I and what's something fun I could do in my area. And so maybe if you're, right here in North Dakota, if you're in a rural town, maybe that's going and spending a couple nights in Fargo or in Bismarck. Maybe it's hopping over to Minneapolis and going and seeing a Broadway production while you're there. There's lots of great things rotating through some of those bigger cities that can be a fun vacation, but it's not traveling all the way to Mexico and paying for that big beach vacation. So thinking about what you can do close to home. Or another option, even thinking about that staycation. Vacations can get really stressful and we like to relax, but sometimes that staycation where we just get to stay at home and spend time with our family is a really much more low-key option.
And the kids will probably love it anyway.
Yeah. Yes,
They want a tent in the backyard sometimes, actually. So.
There you go, yes. So looking at those options that are closer to home.
And before you go, you mentioned food, but planning ahead for meals is really important too. Maybe planning ahead with snacks and how you're going to spend that budget.
Absolutely. So having some things in the car. My family and I, when I was a kid, took a big vacation out to the East Coast and back and did a bunch of those main cities. And one thing my mom did is as she was planning, if our hotel didn't have a continental breakfast, she made sure we had breakfast food. So we never ate breakfast out and we saved eating out for lunch or supper, and then we were able to eat some splurgier meals in there.
Well, today is National Splurge Day.
There you go.
Awesome.
Have some fun.
Annika, thank you so much for coming in today. Great ideas, great advice to kind of slow down, plan ahead, and set that budget.
Absolutely.
And you can still have fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
Coming up on today's show, we're talking about a new psychiatric hospital being built in Fargo.